You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, got in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Google signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy J. Ludis, and guys, our guest today, someone I've already learned so much from. He brings so much knowledge and wisdom. But to give you background, he is an incredible keynote speaker on sales and a few topics we're about to dive into. He's also an author, a writer, guys. He's also the host of the Craig and Greg Show, the podcast, guys. I want you to go check it out. But guys, I give you Greg Heeres. He is an incredible speaker, talking on referralosity, talking on more at-bats, talking on a robust pipeline, and also Top Gun sales habits. Guys, I give you Greg Heeres. Greg, I thank you so much for being here. It's always been a blast.
Billy, you're an amazing host and you're amazing talent. So it's fun to be lateral. Sometimes you get interviewed, Billy, and you're like, I think she gets it. I don't know. She's, she doesn't do what I do. You and I do very similar. You do it way better than me, but it's great to be on your program, and hopefully the audience will learn something today.
Yeah. Oh, that's the goal right there. Helping people is the name of the game. And I have no doubt in my mind you bring that to people. Guys, to give you background, Greg and I met in a speaking cohort for that matter, but we found deeper connections on the speaking industry, but also different techniques we can help each other with. And Greg, you bring so much knowledge to companies, to different audiences in the sales area. You've found massive success for yourself, but now you're teaching other people. How did that come about? How did you step into that area for yourself?
I think part of it is just how I was raised. Like, so if you got some success, you should probably share it. Doesn't mean money, but it just means, hey, encouragement. If, maybe a little sarcastic here, but if I can make it, so can they, so can you, whoever's listening. You just have to work at it, ask good questions, make sure you've got a good network of people to support you, and probably have some sort of a faith in God and yourself that, hey, I can go on stage and not say bubblegum 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. So yeah, it's great to be with you, man.
Yeah, no, that's a blast. So with all this background you've done in sales, how the success you found and whatnot, you're now creating trainings and you're coaching and you're helping businesses grow to different levels. So on these different topics you speak on, referralosity, that's just such a phenomenal term, but dive into that. How did that become a topic, and how do you help people get referrals fast? What's that about?
Well, I think most salespeople, it's a pretty low stat. About 17% of salespeople, all industries, tangible, intangible, whether it's a product or service, so the 17% ask for referrals.
Okay.
That means 83% don't with a plan, like a regular basis.
Sure.
When you get one, so let's say I was in the 83 percentile, you'd probably be the 17, but I'm in the 83. Like, why would I do that? Oh gosh, I have no one to talk to. I better ask for people. The referral piece is scary.
I get that.
But I've learned about humanity in that. So if I help you and your company, there is some sort of equation psychologically so he helped us. If I asked you, hey, could you help me? Most of the time, people don't hesitate because there's an equation. They want to balance it.
Yeah.
So part of referrals is just knowing people are willing if we ask. We dive into a lot more, Billy, in the presentation and the training on what are referral sources, how to do them. We do a role play. I'm more than happy to embarrass myself on, mistakes I made. And that kind of maybe prevents others, the audience, from like, yeah, Greg did that. That's a horrible idea. What was he thinking? But I want to share those because I've said this humbly for years. I could probably write a pretty good book on successful things I decided to do and did. I could write a doggone trilogy on mistakes I made.
I get it though, right?
But that sells, right?
Yeah.
So you do a training and people are like, oh my gosh, that's a funny story. I don't want to repeat that though. Thanks that Greg shared that. So that's what we do. We kind of get to the point of referrals and daring to ask and how to ask. And it also feeds into pipeline, right?
Yeah. Right.
Pipeline for you and me, Billy, could be, we're very systematic. Emails, campaigns, reach outs, etc. In referrals, you're like, oh, Mary called me with another name.
Yeah.
It'd be more fun to plan for Mary's calls. And that's where we get to on the keynotes. How to plan.
Gotcha. Okay. That's awesome. So you're bringing in the power of questions and allowing people to really connect with clientele or whatnot. Like, oh, they're going to send me these people. But then you teach them the whole background. All right. Now that we have that, here's what we do. As you mentioned. Okay. That's
So
awesome.
the word referralocity is, like, I would love them to come in faster. Velocity of referrals. Maybe I'll just put the word together, and I did. So referralocity is, getting more referrals so that you don't sweat every quarter or every time the month quota comes up. You're like, who do I talk to today? And no one called me.
Right.
And we put a little more peacefulness in the sales, because it's a battle.
Yeah.
I mean, being in sales is a battle.
For sure.
Everyone's got a story. Maybe it's not the honest one, but we're battling, commodity.
Right.
We're battling the bandwidth.
Right.
Everything else, concentration, availability of people. So it's
do you find that in your keynotes and speaking to companies and really teaching the audience, confidence becomes such a factor? Because in the sales game, you need confidence, but I think in a referral concept, you're going to get more referrals if the clientele you're working with can resonate with, oh, this guy's good. He helps me so much. I want people to experience this.
Yeah. The Kirby vacuum guy that comes down your drive and knocks on the door, and then he doesn't get a sale, but he asks for a referral is not what I teach. Because I didn't buy from you. Why would I give a referral? I'm not going to go sick you on someone else,
Yeah.
I think people want to refer someone who's fun.
Right.
Interesting. Different.
Yeah.
Problem solver.
Right.
Resilient. Responsive. And so you have to work on yourself. You do that when you speak, Billy. You got to work on yourself to be a good student or be a good employee or go to be a good leader or a good principal or a good faculty member. The same thing in referrals. They're just not going to call us because they feel sorry. One of the challenges I have, just like you do when you challenge, whether it's a school or a business, when you speak, mine is, if you're hanging around turkeys, you're never going to fly with an eagle.
Yep.
And for us to get to that next level, we need to find more eagles, and they may not even be clients, which is another thing we chat about in the training of referralocity, is be around influencers, people that make stuff happen.
Right.
Because they're going to start to know, they're going to know, and trust you.
Yeah.
And they'll give you a referral.
Right.
So the stats are phenomenal on referrals, by the way. The sales time is shrunk down to really quick. The retention is much higher.
It's true.
The cost for referral is zero, unless you buy someone coffee or whatever. There's just so possible to get better referrals versus dialing for dollars.
Yeah.
And the referrals are such an ego boost for the person who's battling in sales, and they get a really positive referral. You're like, maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
They believed in me. So that's part of what we do. So
that's awesome. No, I love that. And I love what you're bringing to different companies with that. And now leading into other topics that you talk about, I feel like referralocity leads right into more at bats.
It does.
It's providing the training, essentially the training period. Hey, referrals pop in. You're going to hone and train your sales skills in this process too.
Right. The more at bats, better pitches from me, Bill. I learned the hard way, unfortunately. So a lot of my keynotes and trainings are, so I'm going to give you a lesson I learned. I'd recommend not doing it yourself. Just take my lesson as, helpful. The situation from referrals to this would be, I had a friend in my office. He worked for my partnership, and he came in ghost white. And I said, Mark, you all right? He goes, no, I got nothing. Okay, sit down, shut the door. What do you mean you have nothing? I have no one to talk to. I don't have any more opportunities. I'm banking on the two that I presented are going to be my sales for this quarter. Wow. And I said, well, what do you got on your desk? And he had files here. And every day it'd be on the other side of the desk. a little bit left, and you move them back to the right. I said, what are you doing? He says, I don't know, maybe reluctance. So you don't want to call people. You don't want to send it out. So to me, the more at bats and also gets into some resources. So I can't bid everything that comes through the door. I can't quote. I can't offer a proposal. I can't give a solution because I don't have 24 hours and so does my team. So the more at bats, better pitches is not just more opportunities, but better ones.
Yeah.
So like to go do RFPs, request for proposals. You're like, do I got even a chance at this? It's almost like a mass mailing, 2% return. I would rather have better opportunities where you ask questions and say, I can only add 4 clients this year.
Yeah.
You could be one of them, but I need to know ahead of time for my team because, we're not working 92 hours a day.
Yeah. Right.
So I think the more at bats really kind of pushes people to figure out, so use baseball as an example. You get a batter's box.
Yep.
You're going to get some pitches. If you swing at the first 3 pitches, they could have been strikes, but you didn't hit anything. And we kind of teach in this training how to be more choosy.
Okay.
How to increase the chance, the probability that they're going to say yes.
Yeah.
Right. Because you have so much time to make, if you drive somewhere, you drive a couple hours to speak at a college or a business or a school, and you're like, I can't get that time back. So we really go into qualifications and making sure they don't put us in a box like, we speak and write for a living, Billy, but we're not the same. Don't put Billy in my box. That's not fair to Billy. Right. So that's how we do in the training is we help them kind of figure out, how do you differentiate yourself so you get a better look?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And differentiating yourself, to me, come from my background with the personal development and self-improvement aspect, you find that when people can connect more with who they are and what their strengths are, as you and I were talking prior to recording, when people can find their strength, they can then show up greater in these sales pitches at bats, and whether it's a referral or just a cold call for that matter. But and then the resources you provide, you're essentially helping people identify who their best client could be, right? They did their research, identifying it, but then at the same time, you're teaching them, all right, here's the process we're going to do when we call them or we approach them, whatever it might be. So they're learning all these areas to build confidence, as we mentioned earlier, but then to show up and really more at bats, get a home run out of that at bat for that matter, right?
Yeah. You just improve your odds, and that's really the training. How do we improve our odds when we have a sales conversation? That's the answer.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. I love that. And now keeping the process going, asking powerful questions. That's another gig that you do and you help people and you train these companies. I just think that's a trait that we need in life, because the questions you ask dictate where your life goes, whether you're asking yourself, asking God, asking people around you. But how does that come in a sales platform?
Yeah. So I have to be honest with you. I've used asking powerful questions in leadership speaking as well, because a leader needs to know his team, her team, what they're working with resource wise, they have a budget. But then you have the outside people, vendors, suppliers, clients, etc. In sales specifically, Billy, I think it's really key for asking powerful questions. You really unlock a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
And I role play, and I let them kind of laugh at me. I'll have a victim. I mean, a volunteer. That's a joke. But come on up and play with me here. Let's just do this. So most of the people are okay with it. They're like, I know I'm going to be your guinea pig. No, I'm going to make it worthwhile. So usually I'll give a book away or gift card or whatever for going through the little uncomfortable. Like, is he going to embarrass me? No, this is my chance to be embarrassed. It's all good.
I get that.
I'll just be like, so tell me about yourself. And tell me if that's a good question. You go, no, you could have researched it. You're right. So I came into this appointment thinking I qualified, right? I'm going to differentiate myself with a really bland question.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Right. So it really kind of puts the questions on your head. Like, so tell me about your business, no, you should have researched that.
Yeah.
And research to me isn't Google only.
Yeah.
If I've highlighted this is a really good company to talk to, in sales, I might find out, do they have a board? Do they have a key client that I might know?
Yeah.
Who's their professionals? Do I know their banker?
Mm.
So I can do research with, hey, Billy, I know you're the banking person for ABC Sales Company. What's that leadership team like to work with? And you
Mm.
can say, oh, he's pretty tough, but his bark is, more than his bite. Okay, cool. And you do research that way. And
Yeah.
so when you get to the more powerful questions, and I had the chance to work with you before, and it's just as we kind of make ourselves sharpen iron together.
Yep. For sure. Yep.
Asking questions, I notice even when I ask you a question on one of our just checking with each other, and you're like,
Yep.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's what we want the buyers to respond to,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like, so body English is kind of a big one for me. Like, what happens, give me their mannerisms. Tell me
Mhm.
about your company. And the guy goes like this. Well, I
Yeah.
totally lost him. I lost him.
I get that.
He's
Yeah.
not engaged. He's doing this to every salesperson. So
Okay.
what I could say is, hey, I did a little research. I'm not going to ask you about your company. I'm going to ask you about your passion for the company.
Mm.
And the guy goes off.
Yeah.
Shows you everything he loves about his
Right.
company.
Yeah.
I couldn't have got that on Google.
I get that for
Right?
sure.
It's a
Yeah.
powerful question. I said, wow, can I take some notes, and I'll ask permission. Like, those are great answers, And now he's like, well, I'll let you finish what you're writing. He's engaged.
Yeah. Right.
Because I unlocked a bigger story,
For sure.
So that's part of it. It's not about, so, I've heard some funny ones, like, what keeps you up at night? No, usually a burrito. And that would be my answer, And sorry, audience, but I think you got to have fun with this, because sales is a battle.
Yeah.
Billy, you started with asking powerful questions. It's really good for relationships.
Just going to say that to you. That works in every area of life.
So I have a friend who's a pastor, and he goes, hey, I'd like to meet with you. Oh, okay, cool. So we meet. He goes, I'd like to do this every month. Oh, tell me why that was important to you, because if you're inviting me, I'm in.
Mm.
You ask questions no one else asks.
Yeah.
Now, there's 8 billion people in the world, Billy.
Right.
He could have found anybody. Right?
Yeah.
But he found me to say, I'd like you to walk alongside me in life.
Mm.
He's a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'll walk
Awesome.
with you. I'll walk with you. So I think the powerful questions, I do a lot of leave behinds. So there's a big chart on this situation. Here's some really good open-ended questions, divergent questions. You don't want the easy layup, low-hanging fruit questions.
I get that. Yeah.
Because that doesn't differentiate me or you,
Yeah.
and the buyer's like, yeah, he's just another salesperson.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
a little side hustle on this one. I love tours. So if your client has a place you can tour, I said I probably will come up with better questions if you just walk me around.
I get that.
So the guy or the ladies, she'd be like, yeah, I'll show you my shop. We do decorations and flowers and whatever. And this guy says, I do tool and die. Just walk me through the shop. I won't ask a lot of questions. You just walk me through. And then when I come back to the office and I ask her, so what about dunnage, of your flowers that your bouquets die? What do you do with that? How did you know about dunnage? But a lot of it's preparation,
For sure.
and then things that trigger, like, man, I saw that loading dock. That's danger right there. I wouldn't want to have 2 tequilas and fall off that thing, And, but I would do Mountain Dew, Billy. I'd do Mountain
There
Dew.
you go. Sponsored.
I need that. Help me with that. But with asking powerful questions, you're going to break through on things like, so I wrote a book called Sage Advice, unrelated to sales. You got a copy of it. It's me interviewing people that had influence on me.
Mm.
And I wanted to give them kudos because they made me think and made me a better person.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's what we in the professional sales world, that's what we're bringing to the buyer, right?
Yeah.
The business owner, is we're bringing better questions to make them think like, yeah, you know what? I think I should hire you. You are going to help us.
Right.
And that's what you and I love, is helping.
100%. Right. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And to really build on for the audience right now, powerful questions. I find that the sales industry is just so intertwined with life itself. As we mentioned, like your powerful questions connect to, yes, getting more sales for sure. But as you said, relationships or making sure you are asking the right questions when you're, I don't know, in school or you're
Making a
with your
decision,
family, right?
making a decision.
Big decision. Exactly. So
Yeah,
everything you're bringing to these sales trainings can also help people in their life. That's
yeah.
just me being the coach and being the personal development aspect. Like everything you're bringing is bringing personal development. It's not just a business standpoint, but that's the
No.
power that you bring to the table with not just asking powerful questions, but really seeing, all right, where does this lead someone on a life scale? But that's just me connecting all the dots now. But
Yeah.
in the concept of that, asking powerful questions, building relationships, essentially on a sales aspect, that's gotta be like the best thing someone could have in their tool bag. Like I can give an example. So yesterday I was on a sales call with the school up in Massachusetts to come in and speak in 2024 to them. And you mentioned body language. That's the other point I was going to make, because body language is one of the greatest for anyone listening. If you're trying to build rapport with someone, study their body language. And that could be something, all right, this guy sits with his legs crossed. Okay. Well, if you come in and you sit with your legs crossed, I've studied the mind so much, unconsciously, a signal goes to him. I can relate to this guy.
Yeah.
And then, as Greg gave the example where this guy's sitting back, oh, he's not interested anymore. But then you ask a question, goes, oh, actually, you know what? I'm interested in that.
I love that. That's what
Right?
happens, Billy.
Exactly.
When you get feedback, and I know when you speak, you get the little, how this really helped me. I can't
Yeah.
believe I need it. So
Yeah.
a salesperson, so when I speak or train, I give the VP of sales, the director of sales, the freedom to send me people who are in his audience, his associates, and I'll give him 30-minute call.
Awesome.
And so I kind of say, you're going to pay me to speak, but I'm going to be a resource post.
Nice.
And almost everyone, every client I've had where I've spoke, 2 to 6 people will write back, I have a question, I have a situation, but they don't want to ask it in the training. It's 35 salespeople there, like, I don't want to embarrass myself. I'll ask later.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it, is unlocking some of the things. So I've had it where, I'm sure everybody has, I'm sure the audience has, you're with a buyer and they're just not divulging much. So I go through a role play in my training, and I have someone come up and not divulge much, and I'm prying to get in there.
Yeah.
But I give them examples of how.
Yeah.
So apparently that's a touchy point. I'm going to move on unless you'd like to come back to it. So I give them a little power because they went like this, harumph, or not divulge much. And then all of a sudden, can I go back to that? Because I think it's important. Otherwise, you wouldn't have responded that way. But I just need to know, learn. I need to understand better. And please teach me. Now the guy goes, all right, so this is what now he's engaged.
Yeah.
So I give him, I don't want to call them feeling questions.
It's true though. Yeah.
Maybe,
I get that.
Maybe deeper ones. We've chatted when I was chatting with you a while back about empathy and how society is just ruthless right now, just ruthless. And I that's just not right. I don't know their stories, and I can't treat them weird or rude or mean.
Sure.
But the questions that you can dive into and you get them to re-engage with rapport, that's really what asking powerful questions does. It's rapport building.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And, there's one other topic we're going to talk about with your sales training, but the beauty of everything you've brought, even just in this one conversation, but 2 companies, you essentially, when you go in, you're like, hey, you know what? I would love to speak to your company. You're talking to, I don't know, VP, maybe you're talking to the president, whatever it is. And you're showing them how invested you are in their company to, 1, learn, but 2, to show them, I want to help you. That coming in and then asking the investment of the powerful questions and everything like that, just with your knowledge in the background, it's like, oh my goodness, you come to them, as you mentioned, asking deeper questions, feeling questions. You're resonating with them on the love of the company, the love of, hey, we want to make this better. And you come in with everything. Let me help your employees. Let me help your sales associates and everything on a greater scale.
Yeah.
So everything you bring to the table is helping someone because you get so intertwined with the company themselves. So I love that. I love that connector. But going into your final topic that you bring to companies and sales trainings is the Top Gun sales traits. I think that's awesome. I think of Top Gun. It's a great movie. I love Top Gun, right?
I couldn't do it. I'd be the guy with the mask with puke in there, like, oh my gosh, my tummy's up, and I think I had a burrito. I'm just teasing.
That's funny. But tell us, Top Gun sales traits. What does that look like when you're on stage? What are these sales traits someone could take and run with?
Well, who doesn't want to be the greatest of all time, right?
Right?
So Maverick is the greatest pilot fighter. I'm totally Tom Cruise is good. That's not my point. And I actually like the second movie better.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Now, I was, maybe you didn't see the first one when you were in your prime, but you were younger. But I was probably younger when I saw the first one. The second one, I thought that's even better, and that's
Yeah.
very unique, right? The sequel is very tough to beat.
Yeah.
The traits. So how it came about, I'll just share that. So I met with a financial institution. They had an award. They had a trip. They had lenders who reached a certain number, and they said, we'd like you to come in and challenge them.
Mm,
Well, they're already your best lenders.
yeah.
Whew. So I prayed about it, asked, researched. I tried to wrote stuff down, thinking that's a bad idea. You just kind of these are winner chicken dinners. These are people who are killing it.
Mm,
Want me to come speak to them? Okay. So I thought, what are the traits that got them there?
yeah. There you go.
So I started writing ones down and kind of doing my own research and reflection. Like
Yep.
what did I make a mistake on? And so I go through 6 points. So Top Gun, it's an acronym or acrostic.
Yeah. Mm,
So Top Gun are the qualities that I found I needed to have, that I observed in others who were off the charts amazing.
nice.
And then I'd research folks that wrote about stuff, but not about Top Gun, just, qualities you have to have, leadership qualities. And it's really parallel or homogeneous to sales and leadership. You have to lead as a salesperson, but leading doesn't mean telling,
Mm, I get that.
right? Leading is asking and listening and then doing what's best for that client. So we go through the traits, and then I stop and ask for a panel. It's sometimes beforehand. And this one here, I said, give me he could run for president.
Okay.
She is just amazing with people, and this person's, just beginning. So we kind of do the spectrum, and I have them come up there and we chat about. So of those 6 traits, which one do you think it's the easiest for you?
Gotcha.
And then I ask them why.
Yeah.
And we can get into strength finders because we'll find out that's their strength, right?
Yeah.
Which one, maybe you probably need to focus on next quarter or next year. Everyone has at least one.
Right. Yeah.
But they're talking to each other.
Mm,
And so the best lender is talking to someone who's emerging as a lender. And he's like, we're closer than I thought.
yeah.
He struggles with, one of the traits.
Yeah.
It's being intense, or tenacity or grit, And some might say, well, that's easy for me. My dad taught me well, he was a Marine. Okay, cool. What's one you struggle with? I'm not a great team player.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So how could you improve that? So then they get to talk amongst their group.
Yeah.
So the guy goes, well, you're coming back next year. Oh, so I didn't put my foot in my mouth, The top traits really are Top Gun qualities that I just came with an acrostic for.
Awesome. Yeah.
I would say most have something that goes really easy for them. And some have a trait that is work. And so I challenge them. So make sure you play to your strength, but you're aware of your weakness.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a Top Gun trait you must have, otherwise you wouldn't have won this trip.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So even that we're on this trip, we're in Bermuda, we're in some, we're in Phoenix, or wherever. It's a big trip for them. They won it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next year? What are you going to work
Mm,
on? Because once the calendar flips, people don't care.
yeah.
Right? They care what you did last year. It's what are you doing now?
Right.
They're appreciative of last year, but they're focused on this year. So top traits is really fun.
Yeah.
They're leadership qualities as well, really.
Sure.
you know. So we dive into each one and kind of, I give them some practicals and, you know, take a little bit of an audience participation on.
Yeah.
So who's really good at this? And
Right.
it's very fun. It's a participatory style. That's kind of how I teach.
Love it.
You know, no one wants to sit there like this.
Right.
When is he done?
Involved.
When does that blow bag over? You know, and so you make it participatory. You know,
Yeah.
you break it up a little bit, have a little, but you bring energy, Billy. I got to bring energy because these folks are like, okay, entertain me.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then once you break in a little bit, they're like, all right, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's got some, and that's okay. You know, some are there. They won
Yeah.
a trip. You know,
Right.
so to
That's
me,
awesome.
Top Gun sales traits are something that you have to work at.
Yep.
Potentially, you could have been born with some of them, maybe. So, like a grit or tenacity, resilience. That's something that you learn.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, things go wrong in life. You decide to either give up or jump in. So you'll have someone who's like, well, I'm pretty good at, you know, resilience. Good. What else aren't you? I'm not like I said, not a very good team player. What's that about? Well, situation at home or, you know, whatever comes up.
Yep.
That's not what they share in the meeting, but it's more like you can see the aha for them as I can work on 2 of those 6. And that's how you send them off.
For
And I
sure.
give them a little giveaway, you know, they have a reminder, they can put it where they want. I do a little plaque and that gives the traits and they can kind of look at them like, okay, I should work on that one a little more. So
Yeah.
it's just so cool. You get to do this too, where you help and you can just see them go, I got it now.
Exactly.
I love that.
No, oh my goodness, that's incredible. And you know, to say this to anyone listening right now, it shows in what Greg talked about. It shows in any speaker coming in for that matter, a good speaker that brings energy and the participation aspect. You need to create a pattern interrupt in someone's perspective and how they see work, how they see the world, how they see whatever it might be. And so in a sales aspect, creating a pattern interrupt and showing them these Top Gun traits and, hey, maybe these 2 are your best ones. This third one we got to kind of work on. It's a pattern interrupt. Well, you know what? I never looked at that. I never thought of that. So now they're more keen to learn in that area, which if you got called in, Greg, to like, hey, these are our best salesmen, talk to them. And you're like, well, they're already the best. But then you just showed the best how to get better. And that just changes the complete industry of that company. But then wherever those sales associates go, you change their life for that matter.
I think if we can raise the water level, all ships rise.
True. Oh yeah, 100%.
Take a sales organization with 20 realtors, doesn't matter to me, bankers, lenders. If the top 4 are killing it, the next 12 don't know how to get there, but they're close. But the bottom 4 are lost. It's by the top 4 sharing, the water level goes up, and the bottom 4, maybe I'll work on 1 of those traits. The middle 12, they're like, yeah, I got 3 or 4 of them down pat. You know, I'll work on that. And the top ones are like, yeah, I could work on all 6 yet. That's what I love. It's like even the best of the best, like Michael Jordan, there was a picture of him on maybe Instagram or something. It was him with Phil Jackson with the Bulls.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe early on, it looked like Phil had a double-breasted suit on. So that was probably one of the first years. Just teasing. but Michael's bent over looking up at Phil, who is actually 6'8".
Okay. Yeah.
So he's taller than Michael standing up, but he's tired. Mike looking up at his coach, and his coach is looking out on the court, giving a little instruction to Michael.
Yeah.
And it said, "What was your best trait?" And Michael goes, "Coachability." He didn't say jumping.
Yeah.
He didn't say ball handling.
Yep.
He didn't say eye of the tiger. Nothing.
Right.
I was coachable.
Yeah.
I'm like, brilliant.
Yeah. Right.
The best of the best has to be coachable.
100%.
That's how we bring, the top traits, and you're like, which one you want to work on?
Yeah.
Got to be one. I mean, don't work on all 6 because that's, too confusing. But
Get that.
Michael Jordan's just came up a couple of days ago. I love that picture. I Snapchat.
Awesome.
I'm like, so he's looking up at his coach, both Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Michael, arguably one of the best or the best player at that era for sure. And he's looking up his coach like, what else you got? I'm coachable. I thought that
Yeah,
should be his Top Gun salespeople.
right. Oh, that's awesome. Now my mind's running with the Bulls when Michael Jordan was there. If he's coachable by Phil Jackson and Phil Jackson's trying to coach the whole team, but Michael's the captain, there's so many stories about Michael in the practice pounding his teammates to get better. So if Michael can be coachable, and as you mentioned, you gave that diagram of 4 top ones, 12 mid-size, 4 kind of floating around. But if the head one's kind of looking down, like, hey, we got to push ourselves to be at this next level. At that point, that's a sports standpoint, but you're helping everyone grow at that point, right? So to come in and say, hey, I got to work on this one. I got to work on this one. Phenomenal. Let's start the process. But in talking about that, Greg, you get to speak to, as you said, realtors, banks, whatever it is where the sales industry is needed. What are some great testimonies that have come out from speaking on Top Gun, from speaking on Referralocity, from speaking on Powerful Questions? You have all these different topics we just labeled, and you have more for that matter with your books and everything. But what are some great testimonies you've seen from these talks and how the impact has been had, and you're seeing things change moving forward?
I think I have 2 stories.
Okay.
One is a person who was going to quit.
Okay. Yeah.
I won't get emotional, but the person actually called me back after my training and said, I need your help. It wasn't about, hey, help me craft a couple good questions. He called me to say, I need your help. Like, I'm ready to throw in the towel.
Okay. Yep.
But he didn't dare tell a sales manager.
Yeah.
Kind of like you when you speak to schools or businesses where you almost invite the person to talk about, excellence or mental health, if they're not safe in their company or their right? So this guy called me back. He goes, you really challenged me on the coaching call, not just the training. And I need to share my testimony. Okay, cool. Tell me your testimony. I was ready for anything.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I got right with God. I got right with my spouse.
Oh.
I didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
But he went there because I challenged them to have these traits, right? Or to be different and not just sit at the desk and aggressively wait for the phone to ring. That's a joke.
Yeah.
But he called back and he goes, I didn't quit. And I just won the first month award for top sales. And I've been at this company 13 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
13 years. That's 42 months. And he finally was the top salesperson.
Yeah.
He didn't give me any credit. He wanted to give the testimony of, I rattled his cage.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I gave him hope. You're a hope dealer, bro. I've already told you that, but I gave him hope that if you work on these things, the prospecting and the closing the deals will take care of itself.
Yeah.
The other one was, it was a female. She was the top car salesman for a very large Toyota dealership in my state.
Okay.
And she was kind of bored. It was kind of happening easy. And I said, the challenge with Top Gun is they're always hungry. And if you lose your hunger, you got to really make a change because it's a battle to be in sales.
I get that.
If you're not hungry for like making yourself better, helping your customer and his or her company better, you're just doing tasks. You're a clerk, right? You're just making the sale. And so she actually dove in and decided to build up, because I believe it's a 80-20 rule. Yep. 20% of our customers help 80% of our revenue. Generally speaking, 20% of the people at church do 80% of the volunteering, whatever it is, so you can mix and match. And so she decided to kind of make an assessment for herself on maybe she was settling, kind of getting comfortable, wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
And so I said, the problem with people who are at the top, lots of people want to see you fall. Even in your own company. Not this one. I wasn't speaking negatively of that one, but people don't like the pedestal too long.
Yeah.
Hey, the Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl. Yep. I'm sick of them now. The Patriots with Brady won too many. I'm kind of sick of them now. The Steelers in the 70s, they won, 4. I'm sick of them now. They don't want you too long.
It's true.
Right. They want the new person, the new kid in the block to
Yeah.
kind of over. So I must have challenged her with something in the Top Gun to remain Top Gun.
Mm,
So it's not a destiny.
yeah,
It's a journey.
for sure.
And so I said to her, well, didn't say to her, but when she called me back, she said, you really challenged me that I didn't arrive. I said, that's what they want. They want you to think you arrived, you take your foot off the gas, and all of a sudden you lose 2 big clients, and the company's like, what's happening with Mary? What's wrong with Mary?
Yeah.
So Mary, you're going to have to stay hungry. John, you're going to have to pull your bootstraps up. Don't quit. And so those would be the 2 testimonies of one who was going to quit.
Yep.
And then one who was sort of coasting, maybe, or unchallenged.
I get that.
And so those were 2 different coaching calls, as you know, in life coaching. Oh, that's those. I cannot say the same thing to him that I said to her. They didn't work. But those would be 2 ones that I really cherish. Obviously, numbers, matter. They like to know. So I got one fun story. I worked with a nonprofit organization that had fundraisers. They're in sales. What are they selling though, Billy? They're selling a story.
Yeah.
Right. I have a need in Haiti, and you have money in your family foundation.
Right.
Could you help us meet the needs in Haiti? And that's the sale, right?
Yeah.
So they had 16 fundraisers around the world.
Okay.
My training was basically Hollywood squares. They were on screens, and I had in person, and they were on screens, and it was quite fun to do.
That's cool.
And so I said, here's my goal. I think if you do these 3 things after listening to them, I think you're going to see an uptick in fundraising. So the fundraising director called me and says, you were right. And I says, well, it's not even the end of the year yet. He says, yeah, we're up 14% in 6 months.
Wow.
You're a $50 million agency. I'm pretty good at math. I'm thinking that's a pretty good uptick, So he says, whatever you do, we're going to hire you. And you got hired to come, maybe you're thinking about that one wants to have you come back, and do quarterly checkups and challenges. I call them checkups and challenges. So I said, yeah, I'll hire. So I worked with them for 6 years. So they went from 50 million to 111.
Wow.
I didn't get to raise the money, but with favor, right, and some good techniques.
Yeah.
Each of those professional salespeople all increased. They all got bonuses. It was just lovely to watch kind of the mass improve. So.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love those testimonials. And it leads me to another question I want to ask you prior to us kind of closing this whole thing out and with the knowledge you've given us. You mentioned all these great trainings you've led. You've mentioned the impact you've had on people. You've mentioned the testimonies, whether it's individualized, where someone their whole life changes at that point, or it's company based, where the results skyrocket and the revenue skyrockets for that matter. What do you love the most about what you do? Because in the sales industry, so many people have different perspectives on the sales industry. But with you and the level you've reached and the role that you have and play in the sales industry and helping companies, you lend a hand into so many different areas of life. So as a speaker that comes in and helps people in life and also work, what do you love the most about this job? Or is it even called a job?
No, that's an adventure.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I would say it's sort of a corny word, but I'm thrilled to educate.
Nice.
But sometimes I find entertaining is also important. So I just came up with the word, I like to edutain.
Okay.
Like entertain and educate.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes, like I've been in church most of my life, and I've heard a lot of amazing preachers and evangelists and so forth. And they set you up, Billy.
Yeah.
They get you laughing a little bit, and you got to work on humility. Oh, you just made me laugh, Or you laugh, they tell a story, and she says, you just got to be honest with yourself, or you'll lie to too many people and you'll ruin your life. Oh, you gave me knowledge and humor, and then you stuck it to me because now I got to deal with it. And I think I kind of like that, like making people feel welcomed, safe, and then push them.
Yeah.
That's what a good preacher, a good speaker, a good teacher, a good spokesperson, they kind of know how to make sure that you feel safe and you're engaged and it's
Yeah.
good. And then, all right, so now let's get to brass tacks.
I
How are
get
you
that.
going to be better?
Yeah.
And that makes you reflect. So I like educating, but I like entertaining, and I just put them together. And you know, I enjoy people's smiles. I think
Yeah.
teeth are beautiful. You know, eyes. You know, you get to see the crow's feet when they're like, "That's a funny story." So I'll usually any of these keynotes that I share, I often share about me to
Yeah.
help them know the point. Like, yeah, so I did that. Yeah, I lost the client. Yeah, learned a lesson. You know, I didn't lose, but I learned a lesson.
Yeah, I
I
get that. Mhm.
didn't repeat that one again. But I think that's what people need to know. Like, so is he perfect? No, no, gosh, no. Anyway, like I could write a trilogy book on mistakes, you know, like, and so I'll share some personal stuff that they might be like, wow, I can't believe he shared that.
Yeah,
That's just being open,
for
right?
sure.
You
Right.
know, so, yeah, it's a thrill to see people get it.
Yep.
And you help them get it. You know, you can't bring them to the water and make them drink, but
Mm,
man, you can show them where the water is.
right.
And that's what all I do is just bring the water.
Yeah. Oh, that's phenomenal. I love it, Greg. And you bring such a great positive impact to people. Sales,
Mhm.
yes, but people. And
Yeah,
I think you, as you said, and we touched on it prior, the open book that you are for an audience allows them to really connect with you. So you can entertain. Oh, I
yeah,
like this guy. He seems nice. But then you can educate so they grow out of this keynote
right.
for that matter. But I love everything you bring to the table, Greg. Tell them, where can they find you? You know, I want to have you on again and could talk about, because you have books, you have everything, you bring so much to the table. And I want to bring that to people, but tell them, where can they find you for something like this to learn more about you and what you bring to companies and everything?
So I have a website. It's maximizeleadership.com. Pretty
Mm,
simple. Coaching can be in there, sales talks can be in there, a few testimonials. It's not a laborious website. People will go to a website, but they won't buy because of it.
mm,
Right? They want to talk to you, Billy. They want to hear your words, your passion. So same for me. Like the website is a footprint to like, oh, he's legit.
yeah.
Then maybe the invite is say, let's just have a conversation and explore.
Mm,
What could your company need at the next event or an award banquet or a
right.
sales training? Everyone has meetings. I can jump in and help you. What would be the best fit? And so that's where they could go is maximizeleadership.com.
Okay.
Phone numbers in there, emails in there. It's pretty self-explanatory. A podcast, you put a plug in
Yep.
for the
Yep.
podcast. You can find a Craig and Greg Show podcast on Apple, Twitter, YouTube. Trying to think who else. Amazon, Maximize.
Yep.
They all got them. That's the fascinating thing with social media.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Where can I find you? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
But I think the part for most people who want to talk to you or me, like, well, I don't want a sales pitch.
Hmm.
I don't have a pitch.
Yeah. Right.
I
Connect.
got I got questions.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You called me, so what made you pick it up? The
Right.
phone.
Yeah.
What are you worried about? What are you noticing? How do you want to celebrate?
Mm,
Any mix, and
yeah.
let them craft it.
For
That's what
sure. Oh,
I,
I
I
love.
just like you, bro. You want to find out what kind of company is it.
Mm,
So even though the person director of training or the director of sales calls me or calls you, whoever it is, my goal is say, can I talk to two salespeople? You just pick them random.
yep.
Don't pick your favorite ones. Just give me two, and I need 10 minutes with them on the phone.
Mm,
They're like, why would you do that? Because I think it's important for us to close the gap.
yeah.
So you're the leader in sales, and I'm just going to come in and train and help move the ball down the field.
That's awesome.
Maybe talking to another person or two, I
Yep.
might, hey Mary, I know you wanted me to talk about powerful questions, but I just talked to one of your salespersons and they're really fretting about pipeline.
Yeah.
And could you combine them? Not really. I mean, all right, well, could you do half of each? And so
Mm,
that's what I did.
right.
Yeah. So, and then they said, well, come on back because you didn't do enough. Come on back. So they love that. They're like, yeah, he challenged me, but I got more questions,
Yeah.
or I am not sure I know enough yet to dare to do that. So
Yeah.
my whole thing in sales, and we'll finish up here, bro. I wish for people to be bold,
Mm,
bold, bold, bold. Because to be different,
mm,
to get a better at bat, to get that referral, you got to be bold.
yeah.
You got to be bold to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Mary, will you buy from me again this year? I know you bought light bulbs from me last year." Whatever the story is, whatever they
Right.
sell.
Yeah.
Be bold, try
Yeah.
stuff. That's where I wrote three books on mistakes, because I tried stuff. It didn't work, but it pushed me to what did work.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's
My
awesome.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I love talking to you, Greg. And I got to give people an actual example of everything you just said, where, um, when a company brings you in, you're like, hey, let me talk to two sales associates just to learn, just to see what their side of it is. For people to know how I met Greg was he did that exact process in the speaking cohort we're in. He goes, hey, let me talk to someone in the industry. And they talked to me, as I've been in the group for the past however many months at the time. And I hit it off with Greg, and just like we connect on so many different areas. I got to, teach him about the speaking industry and a little bit in my side of it and how I'm working with the people we work with. And that's how Greg and I were introduced to each other, but it built other opportunities because we got to ask each other different questions. So we got to learn a different side of the speaking industry from someone that's of taking this approach and taking this
Mhm.
approach. So it teaches you so much. So that's just a fun little aspect how you and I met, Greg. But for everyone listening right now, all of Greg's links, his Instagrams, his social medias, his website are going to be in the credits of this video. They're going to be in the YouTube description. So if at any time something in this video sparked you, whether it was referralocity, whether it was more at bats, whether it was Top Gun sales traits, or even though we didn't really dive too deep into the pipeline aspect, but that's for another video in that self, or powerful questions. Greg brings so much knowledge. As he just said, he's going to ask you questions. Reach out to him and ask your own questions.
Mm.
Reach out to him and see how he can be the right speaker for your company, or he can be the right guy to help you in the sales industry and whatever it might be. But Greg, I thank you so much for being here. It's always a blast. You bring so much knowledge. You bring wisdom with everything you've been through, whether it is 3 books on failures leading to that 1 book on success. That's the only way we get to success is through failure, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you learn. I don't like losing. Okay, I gotta play better. I gotta compete
Right?
better. So yeah, losing tastes bad.
Yeah, we got to be coachable, like you said, right? Exactly. With
Yeah.
Michael, right? But no, I appreciate your time, Greg, and I know we kind of went through a couple different areas pretty quickly. I want to have you back on so we can dive into deeper topics because you bring so much to the table, far more than the sales industry, just as much. I think that's what will help people get to see, oh, wait, who is Greg? I want to see more of him. So let's do it on another date. But I thank you for being here. Is there any lasting messages you want to leave with the audience before we close this whole thing out?
I think Billy, as speakers, people are like, how do you do it? How do we, Greg, how do you go up there? So this is a ploy in my own head, right? So the mindset when I go up, I'm not better than the audience.
Nice.
I might be around the track once or two more times, but they're also going to get around the track once or two more times.
Yeah.
I'm not better than them. I'm not more accomplished than them. And I think going in that way, really humbly, just like, I'm just going to serve and share with you.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. I think, sometimes we can, if you talk to a school, you might do the collared golf shirt you're wearing. You might go to a company, you might have a white shirt with a tie
Right.
on or whatever you do. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to dress up, but I think I'm supposed to.
I get
I
that.
just want them to know that sometimes I thought, well, I'll put a nice suit on with a tie, but put my slippers on, or my high tops, I'm not quite there yet, so I'm still learning. I
Yep.
think that's the other part is, to see people move the ball, move the chains in football field,
Yeah.
score something for them. That's really a thrill.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy the sales craft. I think
Mm.
that's really what I want to call it. It's a craft.
Yep.
And you keep on crafting. Like a person who started drawing for the first time, I'm not very good at that, but stick figures, and then you
Yep.
do, I can do a better face.
Yep.
I can do muscles now. Oh,
Mm.
I've got the background landscape I can draw, and they get better and better.
Sure.
That's the craft of sales. Get
True.
better.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate your time, Greg. It's always a blast talking with you. I hope listeners, viewers right now, if at any time Greg said something in the sales process or connecting it to the life process, go back, rewind it, rewind this interview and go back and see, all right, well, how does that connect to me? Ask yourself the powerful questions that Greg might bring to you. But that's what the interpersonal aspect allows you to take a deeper look at yourself. Like, hey, you know what? What are my Top Gun sales traits? What are my Top Gun traits in life? Not even just sales, that maybe these are my strengths. Maybe these are ones that I can grow in. Guys, I told you, Greg brings so much wisdom and knowledge to everyone he comes across. Check him out. Go to all of his links and see how he can help you, or just read more about him. Heck, get his books because they're great, you know? But Greg, I thank you for being here.
Really
Viewers,
great.
listeners, please like this message on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button below. Also, if at any time Greg or myself said something in this video and someone popped into your mind, you've heard me say this before, that is a clear-cut sign to you that someone needs that message to help them. As Greg and I both said, helping people is the name of the game. We agree on that concept. If someone pops in your mind, lend a hand to them, share them this video, and help them in that concept. Not to share Greg, not to share myself in any means, but to help someone else. Play a role in that. And please subscribe to Once a Week on YouTube if you have not already. That number, we just crossed 10,000 subscribers the other day, and it's a blast. And that means we're helping so many people. Please, guys, subscribe if you have not already and become a part of the entire process. But lastly, Greg, I thank you for being here. Always a blast.
Peace and joy, brother. Thank you all. Peace out. Take care,
guys.
All right.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Buku signing on, John to the Hancock.